today we'll be visiting Big Nose Kate's gravesite and talking about her history. Stay tuned. Mary Catherine Horoni, born November 7th, 1850, died November 2nd, 1940, popularly known as Big Nose Kate, was a Hungarian-born American outlaw, gambler, prostitute, and longtime companion and common-law wife of Old West gunfighter Doc Holliday. Tough, stubborn, and fearless, she was educated but chose to work as a prostitute due to the independence it provided her. She is the only woman with whom Holliday is known to have had a relationship. In 1860, Kate's family left Hungary for the United States, arriving in New York City on the German ship Bremen in September. Kate's family settled in the predominantly German area of Davenport, Iowa. By 1865, Kate and her siblings were orphans, and in 1870 they were left in the care of attorney Otto Smith. At age 16, Kate ran away from her foster home and stowed away on a riverboat bound for St. Louis, Missouri. Kate later claimed that while she lived in St. Louis, she married a dentist named Silas Melvin, with whom she had a son, and that both died of yellow fever. The United States Census records report that a Silas Melvin lived in St. Louis in the mid-1860s, but he was married to a steamship captain's daughter named Mary Bust. The census also shows that another Melvin was employed by a St. Louis asylum. Since Kate met Doc Holliday in the early 1870s, she may have confused the two and their occupations when recalling facts later in life. In 1869, Kate is recorded as working as a prostitute for Madame Blanche Tribole in St. Louis. In 1874, Kate was fined for working as a sporting woman, prostitute, in a sporting house brothel in Dodge City, Kansas, run by Bessie Earp, James Earp's wife. In 1876, Kate moved to Fort Griffin, Texas, where in 1877 she met Doc Holliday. Doc said at one point that he considered Kate his intellectual equal. The couple went with Earp to Dodge City and registered as Mr. and Mrs. J.H. Holliday at Deacon Cox's boarding house. Doc opened a dental practice by day but spent most of his time gambling and drinking. The two fought regularly and sometimes violently, but made up after fights despite the volatile relationship. According to Kate, the couple later married in Valdosta, Georgia. They traveled to Trinidad, Colorado, and then to Las Vegas, New Mexico, where they lived for about 2 years. Holliday worked as a dentist by day and ran a saloon on Center Street by night. Kate also occasionally worked at a dance hall in Santa Fe, New Mexico. By her own account, Doc and Kate met up again with Wyatt Earp and his brothers on their way to the Arizona Territory. Virgil Earp had already been in Prescott, Arizona, and persuaded his brothers to move to Tombstone. Holliday was making money at gambling tables in Prescott. In 1880, he and Kate parted ways when Kate left for Globe, Arizona, but she rejoined Holliday soon after he arrived in Tombstone. Holliday, like his friend Wyatt Earp, was always looking for an opportunity to make money, and joined the Earps in Tombstone during the fall of 1880. In a 1939 letter to her niece Lillian Rafferty, Kate claimed that she was in the Tombstone area with Holliday during the days before the shootout at the OK Corral. According to Kate, she was with Holliday in Tucson, Arizona, when they attended the St. Augustine Feast and Fair in Levin Park during October 1881. On October 20th, 1881, Morgan Earp rode to Tucson to request Holliday's assistance with dealing with the local cowboys who had threatened to kill the Earps. She wrote that Holliday asked her to remain in Tucson for her safety, but she refused and traveled with Holliday and Earp. Kate reminisced in the letter about her stay with Holliday at C.S. Fly's boarding house, which bordered the alley where the gunfight at the OK Corral took place. Kate is reported to have made trips to Tombstone to see Holliday until he left for Colorado in April of 1882. In 1887, Kate traveled to Redstone, Colorado, close to Glenwood Springs, Colorado, to visit with her brother Alexander. Some historians have tried to connect Kate and Doc to possible reconciliation attempts between the two. After Doc Holliday died in 1887, Kate married Irish blacksmith George Cummings in Aspen, Colorado, on March 2, 1890. After working several mining camps throughout Colorado, they moved to Bisbee, Arizona, where she briefly ran a bakery. After returning to Wilcox, Arizona in Cochise County, Cummings became an abusive alcoholic and they separated. In 1900, Kate moved to Dos Cabezas, or Cochise, and worked for John and Lulu Rath, owners of the Cochise Hotel. Cummings committed suicide in Cortland, Arizona in July 1915. Kate is enumerated in the 1910 U.S. Census in Dos Cabezas, Arizona, as a member of the home of miner John J. Howard. When Howard died in 1930, Kate was the executor of his estate. She contacted his only daughter, who lived in Tempe, Arizona, and settled the inheritance. In 1931, the 80-year-old Kate contacted her longtime friend, Arizona Governor George Hunt, and applied for admittance to the Arizona Pioneers Home in Prescott, Arizona. The home had been established in 1910 by the state of Arizona for destitute and ailing miners and male pioneers of the Arizona Territory. It took Kate 6 months to be admitted because the home had a requirement that residents must be American citizens. According to the 1935 Bork interview, Kate was owed money by the Howard estate, but the amount owed was not enough to buy the firewood through the winter, as Kate had complained in her letters to the governor. She was admitted as one of the first female residents of the home. She lived there and became an outspoken resident, assisting other residents in living comforts. Kate wrote many letters to the Arizona state legislature, often contacting the governor when she was not satisfied with the response. Near the end of her life, several reporters tried to record Kate's life story, her relationship with Doc Holliday, and her time in Tombstone. She only talked to Anton Mazanovich and Prescott historian A.W. Bork. Kate died on November 2, 1940, 5 days before her 90th birthday. Kate's death certificate contains significant discrepancies regarding her parents' names and her birthplace. Although she was born in Hungary, her death certificate states she was born in Davenport, Iowa, to Father Marshall H. Michael and Mother Catherine Baldwin. The birthplace of both her parents is shown on the certificate as unknown. The superintendent of the Pioneer Home is named as the informant on the death certificate. Kate was buried on November 6, 1940, in the Arizona Pioneers Home Cemetery in Prescott, Arizona. Here we are at a saloon in Tombstone, Arizona. They call it Big Nose Kate's Saloon. A little look down the street there. Here's the front door of Big Nose Kate's Saloon. I don't believe she actually owned the saloon. They just named it after her because of the history significance. Here we are at the Arizona Pioneers Home Cemetery. We're at the Pioneer Cemetery in Prescott, Arizona. Here to see Big Nose Kate, aka Mary Kay Cummings. Right across from the Walmart. As we continue our walk from the sign, straight ahead towards where all the flowers are. She's a figure from the Old West days of the Arizona Territory. Common law wife of Doc Holliday. And I believe we're at the right place here. Let's see. Yep. standing just next to the gravesite, kind of 360 here. I mean, more like a 180. Okay, here we are at the Arizona Pioneers home. This is where Kate spent her last days. It's a very historic building in Arizona. And of course, we are still in Prescott, Arizona. The building is on private property and it's still in use today. I'm not exactly sure what for, but this is about as close as I can get. It's a fairly windy day today, as you can see.